Tonight on the South Today, Central Otago residents learn about a pumped hydro and power storage scheme mooted for Lake Onslow. A major Queenstown shopping centre reopens its doors with a luxury duty-free retailer taking over much of the mall. And as trick-or-treaters hit the streets, some enthusiastic people get a permanent reminder of Halloween. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Hannah Wilkins. A community open day was held in Roxburgh over the weekend to discuss options to help with New Zealand's electricity problems. Pumped hydro technology and creating a storage battery is being proposed at Lake Onslow, but some locals have concerns.
This open day by the NZ Battery Project in Roxburgh was the first real chance for the community to learn more about the ideas of pumped hydro and storage batteries. The energy technologies being proposed as a way of addressing the country's dry year problem across its hydroelectric schemes. The government, through MB, is funding investigations into the feasibility of a scheme in Central Otago. The project would use a hydro pump in Lake Onslow to pump water into a lower reservoir to create power when it's needed. But at times when there's excess power, the water would be pumped back up to prevent the lake from drying out. Backers believe this would help ease the country's power problems during dry years.
But what we have done is we found there is a real problem. You need to do something to address energy in the future. So you can do it now, or you can kick the can down the road and do it a little bit later.
But to create the pump, farmland would have to be flooded out to create the lower reservoir, leaving some farmers highly unimpressed by the grand project.
Generally, most farmers that are directly affected by flooding would rather not see it happen. It's going to... This causes a lot of uncertainty for them at the moment for the next 2 or 3 years.
$30 million has been set aside by MB to investigate the first phase of the scheme. The government will review the research and consider other options before deciding whether to push forward with the next 2 stages over the coming decade. In Roxburgh, the South Today.
A large surprise washed ashore on a Dunedin beach recently. This 2-metre-long sunfish was spotted in the Otago Harbour late last week before beaching itself near Darling Bay. The bony fish weighs in at around half a tonne, onlookers initially thinking it was a shark. Sunfish sometimes swim into Otago waters, but the shallow water can force them onto their sides, blocking their gills and suffocating them. Volunteers loaded the sunfish onto a trailer and into a freezer, with the Department of Conservation still to decide whether to use it for research or put it on display. Queenstown's major downtown shopping centre O'Connell's has finally reopened its doors. One of the world's leading luxury travel retailers, DFS, is stamping its mark on the tourist town, taking over much of the revamped mall for its T Galleria duty-free store.
Shoppers enjoying some entertainment as they browse through the new T Galleria travel retail store. It's a big investment by the DFS group in Queenstown as part of a $26 million redevelopment of the O'Connell's shopping centre. Over the last 2.5 years, the interior of the 4-level building's been gutted and completely rebuilt.
It truly stands out to all the buildings in Queenstown, and we're proud of what we've constructed and what we've built over here. 2
of the floors house retail outlets, with the lower level eat space still being completed. And while the pandemic threw some curveballs, Mabu Bunny's proud of how his team pulled together to get the project finished. The luxury travel retail centre features more than 100 international and national brands, staffed by a diverse team that can speak 16 different languages.
The aim is for us to continue to learn, be a department store for every customer in Queenstown and every traveller who's visiting Queenstown as well.
Another 3 high-end brands are also planning to open in Queenstown CBD after seeing the confidence the DFS group has in the resort town. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Brewers and those keen to sample their drinks packed into Forsyth Bar Stadium at the weekend for a taste test celebration. More than 12,000 beer and food enthusiasts filled the stadium over the 2 days, trying out a wide range of drinks and cuisine at the Dunedin Craft Beer and Food Festival. Around 80 distilleries and breweries took part this year, showing off what makes their product the tastiest in the business. This year's event was a little different, the festival teaming up with local business Lemon Pie to host the Backyard, an area for people to relax in. It's the first time the Dunedin Beer Fest has been able to go ahead since 2020. New Zealand First Party leader Winston Peters visited Gore over the weekend, speaking to an audience of around 200 people. The event was part of a nationwide tour by the party, with policies around climate change proving to be a hot topic with Southland audiences.
A veteran political campaigner back on the trail, Winston Peters taking the stage in Gore on Sunday as part of a nationwide listening tour. The meeting was part of a national effort to put the New Zealand First Party back on the political map ahead of next year's general election.
And we're here to talk about what's going wrong with our economic and political policies and how the country in such a short time is in so much trouble.
Peters was keen to discuss the government's approach to climate change with regional audiences, arguing current policy proposals undermine the rural economy.
Southlanders export more than any other population of New Zealand. And instead of being at the top of the income earnings, they're down about below the middle.
Peters' wide-ranging speech covered a broad range of topics, including co-governance, crime, the cost of living and Three Waters reforms. New Zealand First's been boosted recently by a resurgence of interest in political polls, with the party aiming to try and recapture support to allow it to hold the balance of power after the next election. In Gore, the South Today.
Tonight is All Hallows Eve, or as it's more commonly known, Halloween. Ghosts, ghouls and other costumed characters will be trick-or-treating around the suburbs this evening, but a number of people recently marked their skin to mark the celebration.
Queuing up to experience pain and pay for it. These fans of being tattooed formed an orderly queue recently at Dunedin's Subconscious Studios to secure a slot in a Halloween flash sale. This type of sale isn't new, but studio owner Martha Butler says this one's been as popular as many weekend events.
And then we've done one before where they decided to line up that way, and it was like all the way around the corner. Yeah, it's crazy. And it's just really cool because like we usually do them on a Saturday, so seeing like this line on a Friday is amazing.
October is a fun time of year for fans of the spooky and supernatural. And now this year's Halloween decorations will be a little more permanent for these Dunedinites. Madison Mawani was among the many tattoo enthusiasts who joined the crowd outside the Princes Street studio, having an early start to ensure she didn't miss out.
So we've been here since 6 o'clock in the morning. I got up about 5 o'clock this morning to get ready and drive down, so a bit chilly, but it's all right.
A flash tattoo is an image of a tattoo, pre-drawn and pre-coloured. That convenience makes these types of tattoos an easy and popular choice. Flash images on offer at the one-day event ranged from disco dancing ghosts to cats and owls, along with other Halloween-themed designs. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Whai Yakane, still to come on the South Today. The lights are turned back on down south for a Hindu celebration, and a local sports star gets the All Blacks call-up just days after being named captain of the Highlanders.
Drop when you
Every day the team at Gillian supports grieving families at their time of need, from answering your questions to organising a farewell that reflects the wishes of your loved one. We can help. Call Gillian's today.
Hi, my name's Matt and I'm the Dines Group CEO. Dines is a company that's focused on selling logistics solutions to its customers. We're passionate about selling efficiency and we've been selling efficiency for over 50 years now.
Hi, we're H Concern Otago.
H Concern Otago hosts a multitude of social activities, including little walks.
It's My Mate John's Halloween sale. He's slashed a whopping 25 to 75% off everything. There's over 5,000 items at half price. Halloween sale at My Mate John.
Great Britain has a collection of varied landscapes and countryside to rival anywhere else in the world. And the best way to see it is to walk.
Tēnā koe, welcome back. Young dancers and singers from around the south gathered in central Otago for a weekend of hard-fought competition. It takes some bold moves to stand out on the open stage at the Alexandra Memorial Theatre, but more than 100 dancers and singers did just that. The Southern performers vying to impress judges at the Alexandra Music Society's annual competition. Jazz, contemporary, hip-hop and musical theatre numbers were shown off, with some performers young as just 3. After a 2-year hiatus, the Hindu Festival of Lights returned to Invercargill. A large crowd of Southlanders celebrated Diwali over the weekend, helping bring the community together.
Lights flashing and performers showing off their moves as Diwali celebrations get underway in the deep south. The Indian community of Southland hosted the Diwali Festival of Lights over the weekend at Invercargill's ILT Stadium. The event proved popular. Within 5 minutes of doors opening on Saturday morning, the stadium was almost full. Around 3,000 people of all ages passed through the doors throughout the day. Organisers wanted to stage a festival in Southland to help bring the community together. Diwali is seen as being about the winning of light over dark and good over evil. A variety of activities were on offer for the crowds, with a roster of performers showcasing their singing and dancing skills, along with plenty of food and activities. In Invercargill, the South Today.
The good news keeps rolling in for Billy Harmon. Less than a week after being named Highlanders captain, the flankers had the call up to join the All Blacks squad.
Billy Harmon will replace captain Sam Cane, who suffered a season-ending injury, fracturing his cheekbone in the close win against Japan over the weekend. All Blacks coach Ian Foster says he has faith in Harmon's experience to do well in the side. The Highlanders captain is already prepared, as he was scheduled to go on tour with the AB's second-string team. He's happy with how the year's turned out after an injury earlier in the season.
You know, I've still got the AB's 15 thing to get through, which I'm looking forward to, and then yeah, after that can sort of put the feet up. You know, it's been a massive second half of the year, which is a bit of a contrast to the start for me.
Coach Foster is yet to name who'll take over the All Blacks captaincy in Sam Cane's absence.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Central Otago residents heard about a proposed pumped hydro and storage scheme for Lake Onslow to ease power problems. Queenstown's O'Connell's shopping centre has reopened after a massive revamp, with DFS Galleria snapping up most of the mall. And as trick-or-treaters hit the streets, flash sales on Halloween tattoos prove popular with punters. And now we'll look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT, and we welcome the Deputy Editor, Craig Page. Hello, Craig.
Good evening.
What can we expect in your paper tomorrow?
We're leading off with, I guess, the end of a long-standing murder trial in Dunedin. Today, Naomi Morrison was jailed for life with a minimum parole, 12 years for the murder of her friend, Ameria Whatara, in Dunedin last year. She ended up burying the body in her back garden. The investigation went on for almost a couple of months before police eventually were able to find the body. The judge describing the actions as callous and depraved in today's court case. The real tragedy is Ameria. She's the fourth person from a family, extended family, to be murdered. So a real tragedy there for those families. Yeah. So plenty on that. NASA astronaut Dr. Shannon Walker was in Bluff today to launch Aotearoa in Space, a nationwide roadshow.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's heading this way over coming days as well, be in Dunedin and Queenstown. Dr. Walker was on several NASA space missions and was commander of the International Space Station as well at one stage. So
wow, we're lucky enough
she
to
knows
have her
what
here.
she's talking about. Yeah, and Yeah, she said there's a lot happening in space exploration in New Zealand, and it's emerging as a big player. So yeah, lots in that space as well.
Brilliant.
Excuse the pun. And of course tomorrow, first Tuesday in November, can only mean one thing: Melbourne Cup Day. So we've got our annual office sweepstake guide in tomorrow's paper. So if you're looking to back a winner, clip that out.
Okay.
And of course, a big day in Wingatui as well. Of course, first time for several years since COVID that they're actually able to get back to full running. So yeah, we've got to look at that as well. So
Brilliant.
plenty of reading.
We look forward to it. Thank you, Craig.
Thank you.
And time now for a look at the weather.
The South Today weather, proudly brought to you by MoleMap, the skin cancer detection specialists.
Looking at the situation, warm northwesterly airflow will increase tomorrow ahead of a cool southwesterly change midweek. Heading to the top of the South Island, lovely and fine with northwesterlies for your Tuesday. Nelson heads for 23, 20 over on the coast in Greymouth, and Christchurch can expect a high of 25 degrees. Travelling to South Canterbury and North Otago now. Clear skies and warm temperatures through here tomorrow. Ashburton will get up to 26, 25 in Timaru, and Awamaru looks warm too, with a top temperature of 24 degrees. Westwards now to the Central Lakes. Gusty northwesterlies with cloudy skies through here tomorrow. Wanaka heads for 23, while Queenstown and Alexandra top that with highs of 24 degrees. Heading further south, cloud increasing with fresh north to northwest winds and highs of 21 degrees across the board here for Balclutha, Gore and the Catlins. Now heading down to the deep south, well, fine tonight in Invercargill with northerlies down to 10. Nice and fine again tomorrow with warm winds and late rain up to 20 as the high. And Wednesday's looking like a wet one with fresh winds and still a warm 19 degrees. And lastly, heading to Dunedin, becoming fine tonight down to 8 as the low. Then fine and sunny tomorrow, great conditions for Cup Day out at Wingatui. Warm northerlies and high cloud later in the day with a high of 24 degrees. Wednesday's warm too with light winds and cloud before late showers, the high 23 degrees. And that's the news this Monday. For the latest news and videos from the Southern region, head online to odt.co.nz. And you can follow Channel 39 on YouTube to catch our news bulletins on demand. We'll see you again tomorrow. Ka kite ya popo.
Public interest journalism funded through New Zealand On Air.